Well, welcome back for another edition of At the Desk with Dave. Today is Tuesday, September 28th, 2010. The topic today is speed reading. How would you like to double your reading speed and learn in the next 4 minutes or so? I'm going to watch the clock and keep this to 4 or 5 minutes. Well, speed reading is not a secret. It's not something that's hard to do, or at least increasing our reading speed. But here's what happens when we read. Most of the time, people just pick up a book and they open it up and they start reading the words. But what happens? The average reader reads somewhere around 180, maybe to 220 words a minute. But as we read, our eyes drift and we actually read too slow, which hurts comprehension, and our mind has a tendency to drift. I know you've done it. I have too, where you're reading and you're thinking about what you're going to do for lunch or what you got to do at the house, etc. So we're not engaged in what we call active reading. So real quickly, these are some basic techniques of kind of the introductory part of speed reading. I read a lot of books, so a lot of times I like to get through them quick, and sometimes I read them slow, just depending on the time frame I have and how much I want to get out of a book. But to actually increase speed and comprehension, here's a basic technique. All right, so here's a book. This is a good book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. It's really about mindset, about how rich people think and how poor people think. Not to discredit anybody, it's just a guy's opinion. It's a good book though. So here's what you do. When you grab a book, start doing a preview of the book. So we read this: Think Rich to Get Rich, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, Mastering the Inner Game of Wealth. So that's telling us something. It's about the inner game, something internal to us. T. Harv Eker. Read the testimonials. Read the inside cover of both sides. Read the back of it. And start to pick up and ask your questions. What's the book about? Who's commenting about it? What are the comments? What am I wanting to get out of this book? Have a purpose for reading the book. So I'm going to read this book for what? Well, I want to learn how millionaires think and learn how to think like they do if you want to become a millionaire. So then you open the book, and then there's some more testimonials. And different books are laid out different ways. So read the introduction of a book. Read the content. So you go through the contents of this book, and who the heck is T. Harv Eker, and why should I read this book? Part 1, your money blueprint. Okay, makes you ask, what is your money blueprint? And then part 2 is the wealth file. 17 ways rich people think and act differently from poor and middle class people. So he's got 17 reasons, steps, or something. So that's telling me something. And then he's got so what the heck do I do now? So that gives you a layout of the book. When you get to a section, a chapter or something like this, part 1, preview a chapter or a section of a book. And that is just your money blueprint. I'm just flipping the pages, looking at the layout of the book. I want to learn this author's style. I want to start engaging my mind and asking questions about what this book is going to tell me. Wealth principle, your income can grow only to the extent that you do. So read some of the bold stuff. So you're just previewing. You're figuring out this book, flipping through it, reading some keynotes to see what this section is about. So now your mind is aware of the layout and stuff like that. So that's called previewing. Actively engage yourself in the book. Ask yourself questions. So now your mind is actively seeking those when they're reading. And you've previewed it so you kind of have an idea about the section of the chapter that you're about to read. Now, basic speed reading technique, or at least a technique to increase your speed, is called what some people call it the smooth or long underline hand motion. But basically it's this. It's just an underline motion to force your eyes to move and not go backwards. A lot of times we read, we drift, and then we back up and read because we're not engaged. Increasing your speed will increase your comprehension if you're focused on your reading. So what you do is you put your hand on the book as comfortable as you can get it. The more fingers you can put up there, the better. And you just force your hand along and make your eyes go with your hand. Because most of us read, and what we do is we sub-vocalize words. It means we're saying the words in our head. Well, the fastest you can read sub-vocalizing is somewhere between 600 and 900 words per minute. So if you want to get past or to 1,000 words per minute, you can't sub-vocalize. You have to visualize words like you do pictures, and you understand what they are. And you can do that. It just takes practice. So what you do is you just push your hands along. That right there alone will increase your reading speed by previewing the book, actively asking questions and seeking the information, and forcing your hands along. Now, to go any faster, another simple technique is get a book that you're familiar with and then do what's called speed sprints. Measure your reading speed for a minute, read for a minute, count the lines, divide by the number of words, kind of figure out your words per minute. But speed sprints are you read and then you push yourself faster, not ridiculous where you can't even see the words, but out of your comfort zone where you are losing comprehension, but it's a drill that pushes your eyes and makes you focus on the words. Do as best you can and go through the page. Turn the page and go through each line, looking at all the words, trying to read as fast as you can, faster than you normally can. Do that for about 30 seconds and then go back to the pace that's comfortable and that you are comprehending. Read for 3 or 4 minutes and then do another speed sprint. Those speed sprints exercise your eyes and your mind to push faster, so when you slow down, you'll automatically start developing faster. Now, none of this will work unless you actually do it and practice it. But a book like this is a 200-page book. Just by doing this smooth underline hand motion, previewing the book, you ought to be able to zip through pages with full comprehension, reading every word in well less than a minute per page. And so you ought to be able to read a book like this in 2 to 3 hours pretty comfortably. So that's the basics. There's a lot more to speed reading than that. There's a book online called Remember Everything You Read, and there's others out there. But if you'll just take those basic techniques right there, previewing, underline hand motion, you'll increase your reading speed or double your speed pretty easily by just actively reading. So I hope that helps. This is a good book, by the way. There's lots of good books. So pick one that you like. Doesn't matter what the genre is. Just read, read, read. Most people are not reading anymore. There's some stats that say 94% of the people that graduate from college never read another book the rest of their life. That's sad. You gain an advantage by reading. So I encourage you to read. I hope this tip helps. I hope these videos are fun for you, and I hope you enjoy this edition of At the Desk with Dave. Check us out at www.davidlanderson.com, and we'll see you next time on At the Desk with Dave.